Hi guys, just a quick video today, and it's a bit of a weird one because it's a video response to a video response. Stuart over at Spain Speaks has just done a really good video where he's analysed a text, a little kind of story or anecdote of a guy who lived in Spain. I think Shane Carney was his name, or is his name, and he lived in Spain for a couple of years, didn't really enjoy himself too much, and he's written an account of his experiences on his blog. Stuart's just analysed it, gone through it, and made some really good points, and I'm going to put a link to his video in the description box. I won't go over too much of the same stuff that Stuart did in detail. I'll give it my own spin, of course, and see if we agree, disagree. I think I agree mostly with what Stuart said, and yeah, I really actually feel bad for this guy Shane, who had a pretty bad experience in the south of Spain, I believe. And well, let's get into it and have a look and see what happens. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I'm doing this completely off the cuff. I've not really prepared anything. I've got the text in front of me. I'm just gonna have a look at it and pick some little bits and pieces out. Now, Shane starts talking a lot about the working conditions here in Spain, and recently I did a video stating that I was just starting out as self-employed autonomo in Spain, so I haven't got that much experience to comment on it as yet, and Stuart speaks about this quite a bit in his video and also in other videos that he's done, so I won't go into that too much. But yeah, just to summarize, is it expensive to be autonomous or self-employed in Spain? Yes. Are the hours a little bit crazy where you have to adapt to them? Yeah, that can be pretty tough. He's gone on here to talk about the police and how they will actively stop you and check for your papers at checkpoints. This has never happened to me. I've been here 8.5 years now. I've never been stopped. I mean, they do the stops for at night for drink driving and stuff, but just checking random people for papers, I've never seen this before. So I don't know if Shane had a really rough experience there. I don't think Stuart had that experience either. So yeah, we're going to differ on that one, but I've never seen that living in Spain. Now the third paragraph, and bing, a little alarm went off in my head, and it says, if you live on the costas, so we're looking at probably the tourism areas, the Costa del Sol and places like this. And he goes on to talk about how there aren't many work opportunities there. You can only get real employment in bars, cleaning swimming pools, working in hotels, etc. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anyone moves to that kind of area to live anyway. It's a place that it's never really appealed to me, living in Spain. I've always preferred somewhere kind of more authentic, somewhere more where you're going to meet local people. These tourism areas, I mean, off-peak, they're probably dead. I wouldn't really want to live there, just in a ghost town, effectively. And you're not really getting much of an experience if you're living there. If you're just living in an expat community, you know, each to their own and all that sort of thing, but it wouldn't really appeal to me. And I think when you do go there, you know, if you did the same thing in Britain or in the United States or wherever, you move to a really kind of touristic area where there isn't much local influence, I don't think you're going to enjoy the experience particularly. So yeah, he's made a good point that there isn't much there. So if you move into the Costa del Sol or to one of these British communities, you're not going to find very much in terms of work or opportunity there, especially if you haven't got to grips with the local language either. He mentions also scams. This part, Stuart's mentioned it a little bit also. Again, I've never come across this where I am here in Catalonia, and honestly, you know, in this day and age, it's tough. It's tough to kind of get caught out by one of these things. When I say scams, you know, credit card scams or property scams. You've got to just have your wits about you, ladies and gents, and this is not a Spanish thing. If you check British TV, I don't know if it's still on TV, there used to be a program called Rogue Traders, and there's probably something similar in the United States and in Australia and Canada, where, yeah, you've got con men or con women, con people who are going to try and rob you, basically. And I don't think that's indicative of the local culture, I'll be perfectly honest. You've got a lot of scammers. I've not seen any around where I live, but yeah, down south, and you've got a lot of the older population, the pensioners and people on holiday. It's easy, you know, if you're in the spur of the moment, maybe to get scammed. But look, with the amount of information that we have nowadays to cross-reference, to get references, to see people's credentials, there's not really any excuse for it. If you think something is too cheap or too good to be true, it probably is. I can't really comment on that, but I think you just got to be careful, and I think that's a very avoidable problem. So I wouldn't take that as, if you're thinking of moving to Spain, you think, oh, I'm going to get scammed. Probably not. I don't think. Yeah, be careful. He mentions the typical dream that hooks a lot of British expats or British immigrants every year, which is the bar in the sun. Yeah, the dream is to come down, buy a bar, and live the party lifestyle and make a load of money. That, again, if you do your homework, if you do your research, you'll find that is not the case. I would question anybody who came, sold up in Britain, moved to Spain with no homework done, with no due diligence, and just bought a bar and expected to have fun. That's kind of asking for trouble. I don't think many people would do that. I know it's happened more in the past, because the reasons he mentions are completely true. Yeah, you're going to be working 7 days a week, crazy hours, and the majority of the bars, usually 90 to 95%, will close within 2 years. That's all pretty easily accessible information, and I completely agree with Shane there. That's not a job that I would consider doing unless you really love that kind of 24/7 bar lifestyle and you've got tons of energy to throw into it. Let's see what else. What's he saying? Yeah, this one regarding the pensioners. Pensioners will now have to leave as they won't be able to afford private healthcare when Britain leaves the EU. Currently they have access to Spanish health system, but this has caused bitterness amongst the native Spanish. I'm not sure that's bitterness with the native Spanish, because currently the British government pays for British expats healthcare if they're not in the health system, and vice versa. There's a special agreement currently between the two countries. Yeah, obviously this is due to change very soon, and yeah, I have to say I feel bad for a lot of the pensioners who've moved here. A lot of them do need a lot of medical care. There's people with really bad arthritis who've moved there for the warmer temperatures, and they're now either going to have to pay for private health insurance or maybe leave the country, go back to the UK. That is what it is. Can't say I'm in complete agreement with the way that's all come about, but it is what it is, and that's a real shame. That is a real shame. However, and there is a point to be made here that if you've lived here for so long, that maybe they should have sorted out residency papers and got into the system in Spain beforehand. I'm not sure about the technicalities of that. I came with a letter of intent to get a job, so it's really quick, the process for me to get into the health system, get a social security number, etc. I know a lot of people, though, came over and just lived effectively as a British tourist for 15, 20 years without ever getting their papers done. There is a counter argument that says, well, if that wasn't the case at the time and it wasn't necessary, why would they do it? Lining up at the police station to get your number and going to all these different offices for older folks probably wouldn't be the best thing in the world. But yeah, the truth is they're being left a little bit high and dry. And even me, as a worker here, paying social security and taxes, there is a doubt over my healthcare moving forward. So for a pensioner, I think that is a very worrying time. I would suggest at the moment, if you are considering emigrating to Spain, if you're a pensioner, I'd hold off just for now until things rectify themselves and things are clearer in regards to how Britain is going to be engaging with countries like Spain in the future, because you might end up getting stuck without any healthcare, and that would be really terrible. The cost of private healthcare in Spain isn't prohibitive. It's not really high compared with some countries, but still, depending on the type of work you need to have done, depending on your health, everyone's situation is different, worth considering. However, if you are coming over to work and you think you have a job or some kind of idea, still consider it, man. Why not? Why not? Be aware, though, as we mentioned before, the economy in Spain is not the best. It's kind of a roller coaster ride, and entrepreneurship and stuff is very hard. Keep tuning in, seeing my videos about being self-employed, and I'll kind of try to keep you filled in on that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he talks about the cost of living. Electricity is expensive, yes. Food and alcohol are reasonable, yes, indeed. And yeah, property is not too bad unless you're living in one of the big cities, Barcelona or Madrid. If you're living in the centre, you're going to pay through the nose. But that's the same in any capital city or big city throughout Europe, really, or anywhere in the world. So Shane's summary is, great to be retired and live there. Climate is great. Health services are excellent. And he would retire here, but never to work in this country again. And yeah, some advice, just be careful. Expats don't generally live there long term. I've been here 8 years. I've not really had too many problems, although I have to confess the work schedules can be quite grueling. Yeah, and I don't think he's really given it much of a chance. Okay, some of the advice, never pay up front for anything, be careful who you trust. That's going to be the same in most countries that you live in, I'll be perfectly honest. After 2 years, I think he stayed here. I don't think that's enough time to really build a trusting relationship with the local communities, you know. It's a work in progress, it's constant progress. And I've been here, as I said, 8 years, and I'm trying still to make contacts. And yeah, with things like if you're getting some trade work done in your house, whether it's electrics, plumbing, carpentry or whatever, you can go through other people. You can make contacts and they can refer you to friends or people that they know. But until you've built those relationships, never take anything at face value. That's just common sense. And yeah, if you're only there for a couple of years, you're probably not giving yourself a chance to get that strength and bond between yourself and the local community. So I think Shane's in Bulgaria now, and I hope it's going well for him, really. It's sad that he had such a rough experience here in Spain. Spain, I think, yeah, you really do have to work at it. You have to build relationships, be very careful of a couple of things as you would in every country, and be prepared. Get the mentality that you're going to work hard if you're going to come and work. It's not sit on the beach. It's not mañana. It's tough. It's hard work, and the taxes are very high. But you can still have a very rewarding life. Most of the people I know have stayed for a long time and have no intention of leaving. So make of that what you will. All right, hope that was a little bit insightful at least. I'm going to try and keep it relatively short. I've got to get to work soon myself. So hope you're having a great day. Hope you're healthy. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. See you again.